So there's a freeze warning for tonight, and these are my zucchinis that I just planted. As you can see, the heat coming off of those. I boiled some rocks, and I'm hoping that this is going to keep them warm enough. I've covered up this little guy right here is actually my panache patty pan squash that I accidentally broke off the peas, but it's actually doing really good. It's been in there for 2 days in the soil. This is actually my single seed challenge. Every year I have killed at least 3, so this year I planted 4, and this is the only one that survived. The one I planted, the 4th one, is the one that actually, I planted 4 different seeds. This is the only one that came up. So I'm really trying to baby this, and I just put it in the soil 2 days ago, and it's doing really good. I took off the leaves that didn't quite make it. That's the root of it. But this little part right here broke off when I was trying to trellis it. But I put it in the soil because I just so happen to know that most squash, if you do that, if you put the base down in the soil, that it will reroot. And I checked it yesterday, and it had started growing little roots. So I want to baby this. So what I'm doing is I'm going to put this cover over it. These are my boiling hot rocks. I'm going to put that in there. I will put another one over here, but I want to go ahead and get this covered to keep the heat in so my rocks don't cool off. So this is one way that you can keep your container garden from getting too cold. Like tonight we have a flash freeze warning until Wednesday morning. Today's Monday. So I'm going to do this, and then a little later after the boiling water cools down a little, I'm going to put some water in here and try to warm the soil up and see if that helps any, hopefully, to keep my zucchini. Actually, these are Ellie's zucchini and my panache patty pan squash alive. So that's just a little tip for you shed warriors that might be having the same problem. Cover them. I'll be coming out and covering these in a little bit. But I want the heat to get in there, and I'm going to put some more rocks in here and some warm water. Now, keep that down. I will cover this later after I water it. I have these strawberries. They're doing great. So I'm going to put some rocks around there, actually directly onto the soil, and cover that up. I'm going to put rocks in here. These are some daylilies, and there's another bare root daylily down here that you can't see that I just planted yesterday. Now I knew the freeze was coming, but the daylily roots they were like dying. There was some green, I mean not green, but you know, there was still some life, so I'm going to go ahead and get them in soil, but I do not have room to bring these in. So I went ahead and watered these. This is my kale. That's my kale that's actually going to flower, and I want the seeds, so I don't want that to die. So you see these canes right here? Oh yeah, my friends. I'm going to use these canes. These were out in my community garden for over a year. These are, some of these, like this one right here, that's its 2nd year, which is why it's okay to go to flower. I cut the sides off, harvested those, weighed them for Shedwars, of course, and all the side shoots came back, and they're all flowering. So I'm just going to let it go to flower, and of course go to seed. But I want to protect these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover these in just a minute after I put a little container of warm water down in here and some more rocks just around the base of these. And then I'm going to cover that up and keep that nice and hot. Another one I'm going to do that with is my Brussels sprout experiment. Because I don't have room to bring any of this in. So everything I could bring in, I brought in already. And I just don't have room for this. So I'm going to go ahead and water it with some warm water, not boiling hot water, but some warm water. And I'm going to put the rocks in there, and I'm going to cover this up. And this should keep them warm enough. What it does is hot air actually goes down. No, excuse me, hot air rises. So that's why when you're in a fire, you always go to the floor, is because hot air rises. And the cooler, fresher air is going to be at the bottom. So I want to dig some boiling hot rocks into this and put some water, some warmer water in there, and cover it up so that I can save these. The rest of this, that's just soil. I'm not really worried about that. That's my potting mix. Nothing's planted in there on purpose. All of this is just more potting mix that I've started, but nothing, that's just compost. Nothing is actually planted in any of this. So I want to keep these Brussels sprout experiment, my kale, my lilies, and my strawberries safe. But I also want to keep my zucchini safe. So I'm going to boil some more rocks, put them in there, cover this all up. After I water it with some warm water, I just got to let the boiling water cool down a little. I also did that so that I could quickly get any chemicals out, because I have city water, and I noticed that it tasted a little like chlorine, which means they, treated it in the last few days. So I'm going to get all that out. Goodness gracious. Okay, so, I knew this was going to happen. I've been watching the weather, and so I'm hoping that this will work and keep everything nice and green, especially those strawberries. Alright, guys. Hopefully that tip works. Boil some rocks, put them in the soil. The warm air will go up, but when you cover it, that'll send the warm air back down. And hopefully that'll keep your stuff alive. I've done this in the past with a container like this, so I know that will work, but I've never done it like this. So I'm hoping for the best. Y'all have a great night. Bye.